How's it hanging, guys? This is the OnlyFriends Podcast. My name's Ivy Wren.
I'm Kiana Kumani.
And yeah, we're just here to get a little weird with y'all and kind of see how it goes. It's our first episode, so we're super excited, but don't really have necessarily a direction, so we're just gonna kind of
We're
chat.
just winging it.
Yeah, so Kiana and I, do you want to tell how we met?
Where did we meet? Okay, so we met at this bar on 6th Street, but we're not going to say the name because, no free promo, but...
Yeah, we met at this bar called Peckerheads. I'm going to free promo it. And yeah, we met in the bathroom. It was Halloween. She was dressed as Dora the Explorer, and I was dressed as a naughty nun. My butt cheeks were out, and yeah, I told her in the bathroom, I was like, oh my God, like, your costume fits so good. Like, you actually work it so well. And from there, we didn't really talk the first time. Like, I just said that, and then we kind of knew each other's face from there. But yeah, we ended up getting pretty close and ended up moving in together for about how many months? Like
December,
4,
January, February, March. 3.5 months.
3.5 months, and then we kind of decided after that we hated each other. We got in like numerous fucking bitchy ass fights where we just like we would ignore each other's presence in the apartment. Like she would walk by and we would just like keep our eyes like on the ground, like.
It was bad.
Yeah, it was uncomfortable. Like I would see her and I would immediately like gag a little bit. And same vice versa.
Yeah.
We would talk shit on each other to all of our friends and then like see each other and just act like we didn't know each other in the same apartment. So
it was like jail a little bit.
It was interesting. It was a really fun dynamic. My mom hates you now because of all the things
that
I told her. Yeah, but yeah, it was awful for a bit, but then I moved out and we decided we could be friends now. So
do you want to talk about how we became friends again?
I don't even how did
So Ivy got really sick. She had like a 102 fever and
no, it was a 104 fever.
Oh, excuse me, 104 fever. And she texted me and so I didn't have my shit together for a while. Like I was like really depressed.
She was living in like a trap apartment.
Yeah,
like,
it was bad.
Yeah.
And then she texted me and I was finally starting to get my shit together a little bit. I got pots and pans. It was crazy. Got a car.
Yeah, so the thing is, like, whenever we moved in together, Kiana didn't own anything. Like, she didn't have one thing to her name. Like, all she moved in with was, like, the clothes inside of, like, a couple bags. She didn't have a mattress. She didn't have sheets. She didn't have a blanket or a pillow. So when she moved in, like, I took her to Walmart, and we got her, like, an air mattress.
And, like, one pillow.
Yeah, and one pillow.
I finally bought pillows, by the way.
Yeah, and she...
like, 2 days ago.
I was there with you.
Yep.
Yeah, and I brought, like, all of my, like, kitchen stuff, and I had, like, a couch and a TV, which ended up one of her friends breaking.
That's our friend.
We'll ignore that. And so, yeah, she moved in with nothing, and I was kind of, like, like, I was the backbone of the apartment. And... so whenever I moved out, I was kind of worried for her because she wasn't going to have forks or a shower curtain or like a bath mat. And I was just kind of concerned for her like overall well-being. I was like, how is she going to exist? Like I was just kind of confused for her.
We're just going in on me today.
Yeah, we really are. And so I was like concerned for her, but I came home one day and I saw like there was like a box in the kitchen. I was starting to move my shit out. And so I'd taken like all my pans and my cups and everything. And I saw there was like a box in the kitchen. And it was like a pot and pan set with like measuring cups and like spatulas. And
I don't even bake.
I was like, who the fuck is this? Like I like was actually like very impressed by the fact that she bought herself pots and pans, which you would think wouldn't be super impressive, but because of who she was, yeah, I was super impressed. And then she got herself a car, and I was like, a new
phone. It's crazy.
Yeah, it was really, which I kind of helped you get the new phone,
but
we'll ignore that. But yeah, it was a interesting experience. But she has some of her shit together. I mean, she's still not,
I'm not fully there. This should be called the Roast Kiana Podcast. Anyway, yeah, I'm starting to get my shit together a little bit. And so she walked into the kitchen. She texted me that she had a 104 fever. And then she kind of like, how do I explain how you walked into the kitchen? You kind of like,
I like
dragged yourself.
Yeah, I like hunched back, like knuckle to the floor, walked into the kitchen, and like was like just standing there, like mouth breathing for a bit. And
it was really hot.
Yeah, and she like I think from like she kind of felt bad for me, and I was like also like needing some help because I was like on my deathbed. And so from then on, like we kind of just were like, okay, we don't hate each other as much because we don't live together anymore.
Yeah, I literally looked at her and I was like, "You good?" And she's like, "Yeah, you good?" And then we went and got seafood.
Yeah.
That literally is how we became friends.
Yeah, we got seafood.
Yeah, we
like-
got seafood, and that's why our friendship is there.
Yeah, the crab legs brought us together.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and that crab
the
sandwich.
the stanky fish smell really made me bond with you a little bit more.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
But
yeah, so that's kind of like how we became friends. But you know, our relation.
we just work better as friends than as roommates because we were like focused on like living together more than like our friendship. I feel like.
Also, I was just, you know, like I'm just gonna ignore.
Yeah. Anyway.
But yeah, so that's kind of like how we became friends. Also, because whenever we first met, so Kiana had a pretty significant amount of followers on Instagram because she does OnlyFans, and I was kind of like starting out doing like I was like in my first few months of starting OnlyFans. And like I saw that she was pretty successful on it and like had like a good following on Instagram. And so I kind of like got some like pointers from her, and we ended up like starting to work with the same manager, like who was helping us with our OnlyFans. And so she kind of opened a couple doors for me in that aspect. And so we really like started bonding a little bit more over that. We were also both strippers. So that kind of helped with like, you know, making a little bit more of a close bond between
Because we got each other well. Like everything we did was like the same line of work.
Yeah. Like we both kind of understood like the industry and how things were going there. So I just burped.
That's hot.
Yeah. So it was, you know, like she helped me out a lot with that. And we both like, you know, are still doing OnlyFans, and hence the name OnlyFriends Podcast. So yeah, I guess like we wanted to start a podcast kind of just to talk a little bit more about like OnlyFans in general and like how it's
the
kind
sex
of
worker industry in general.
Yeah.
There's not really a podcast that like talks about what
Like-
we do.
Yeah, and like doesn't really go necessarily into detail about it. Not just about OnlyFans specifically, but also just kind of like the lifestyle behind it, and you know,
The
like
behind
some
the
of
scenes aspect of everything.
Yeah, and also like whenever I was going into the sex work industry, there wasn't like a lot of resources like laying it all out. Like not only just OnlyFans or just stripping. It was kind of like I had to
How to promote yourself properly also.
Yeah.
Like nobody really talked about that. Nobody still talks about that. Like
Yeah, so we just decided maybe to put our noggins together and, you know, see if we could get some good thoughts out there, which, you know, is kind of hard for us because our brains, you know, work a little bit differently than normal people.
yeah.
So, yeah, but that's kind of like why we wanted to start this podcast. And
just
Yeah.
talk about our lives in general. We both have very interesting lives that we live nowadays.
yeah, I would say so. But yeah, that's pretty much like OnlyFriends podcast. That's kind of where it started and how we met. But anything to add?
Yeah. I mean, I think we could just talk about also like what we kind of post on our OnlyFans and like get
Yeah.
into that a little bit.
Yeah, like talk about like how we got into it and like, you know, maybe
Yeah.
starting out.
Like our backstories. Because nobody really knows us, you know what I mean? So we can just kind of like
Yeah. Do you want to start off like how you got into sex work industry in general, and then like how you know, transitioned from dancing to OnlyFans?
I just said OnlyFriends. Yep.
OnlyFans.
Yeah. So I went to boarding school in Israel. And then when I got back, I was literally working $10 an hour job at Chipotle. And one of my friends from boarding school, his dad owns a strip club in Austin. So he got me a job waitressing over there. So I started waitressing there. Lasted about a month, 2 months. And then I started stripping, and then
You want to talk about like why you transitioned like from waitressing in the strip club to like dancing, like why that transition happened?
I wasn't making a lot of money waitressing, and I also was seeing all of these strippers like walk out with like
A bag.
trash bags full of money.
Yeah.
So this was all like 2 years before Corona hit. And then so I started stripping, and then I stopped for a while, and then I started stripping again right before Corona hit. So I started stripping again in January of 2020. And then I was stripping up until, when did Corona hit?
March of 2020.
Yeah. So then Corona hit, and then so OnlyFans was already a thing, but nobody really knew about it.
Yeah, it was kind of like on the come up around that time. I
Yeah.
mean, I definitely heard of girls making a bag off of it, but I wasn't like it didn't seem like something that I could do personally. But yeah, it wasn't like as well known as it is now. And it
Yeah.
wasn't like a full-time job. Like I didn't see it as like you could make your entire living off of it.
Because no one talked about it back then.
Yeah.
It only got more talked about like
I'd
towards
probably
the
say during
middle.
summer
Yeah.
of, COVID, especially because like girls that were already in the sex work industry, whenever Corona hit and a lot of the strip clubs closed down or girls lost their jobs, like even if they weren't in the sex work industry, they lost a lot of, their income. And so they were looking for something like online that could kind of provide some kind of, replacement for whatever income they lost. And OnlyFans was a great option because you do it from home and you are your own boss and you can really make as much money as you want just depending on the amount of effort you want to put into it.
Exactly.
So,
it's all about messaging too, because a lot of people think that it's just like
a paid Instagram.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone just thinks that it's subscriber based, but most of the money comes from messaging.
Yeah.
Which is a huge thing because I didn't know that when I started.
Yeah, I didn't figure that out for like I probably only started to really figure it out like maybe a couple months ago, like maybe 5-6 months ago. But
because I was just posting all of my content on my main feed, and then I realized that like you can make more money doing like a pay-per-view message. So I started doing that, and then started posting my sex tapes on pay-per-view instead of on the main feed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty much. Do you want to talk about how you got into?
Yeah, so I was working before COVID hit. I had been working as I feel like I maybe shouldn't say what I was doing, but I was working as an administrative coordinator in a sales and marketing. I had a big girl job in a sales and marketing department at an event design company. Damn, I just really laid it out there. I was like, maybe I shouldn't, and then I just like said it all.
We love it.
Yeah. So I probably won't get that job back ever, but yeah, so I was working as an administrative coordinator and, I was working a 9 to 5, but I didn't have a car and I was living pretty far away from work. So I was spending like $30 a day Ubering to and from work. And that was, definitely taking off a majority of the amount of money that I was making. I mean, I was getting paid really well, but it definitely made it hard for me to pay my bills and kind of save up any amount of money to get myself a car, to make any, like financial investment in myself or anything. So I like I was like thinking about becoming a stripper. Like I thought about it for maybe like a month and a half, like, cause I was like, I used to dance whenever I was in like, like growing up. I used to, I had a background in dance. So I kind of thought it might be like an okay transition. I was like, I could do this. Like I could be a stripper. Like, it's just like shaking your ass. Like who cares? And so I went into the strip club to get a job and I was 18. And I like didn't really understand the way that like strip clubs worked or like how the sex work industry was in general, but I was like, I could do this, like no problem. And so I like walked in and I got a job and I worked my first night and I think I made like $700 and I came home with like $700 cash, like cold hard cash in my hand, went home, counted it, and I was like crying, like on my bed crying because this was like the most amount of money that I'd ever like held in my life. And I was like really proud of myself because I was like, I shook my ass for that money, like it's mine, like whatever.
Because it's also the fact that money's like in your hand, like at like
it's
that
like instant
night.
cash. Yeah. And so I was still working my 9 to 5 and I was going into the clubs on the weekend, just like making extra money, trying to pay for like my Ubering to and from work. And it was like in March. So COVID hit like late March and like everybody started talking about.
It was St. Patrick's Day when everything got shut down. So that was what, March 17th?
Something around there, yeah. And so I was like still working my 9 to 5, but I was kind of thinking of quitting and doing stripping full time because I was like, if I can make this, like if I can make, $1,500 a week just working 3 nights, like imagine what I could do if I was working full time as a dancer. And so I kind of like thought about, quitting and then like it was perfect fucking timing because I didn't want to quit because like I really liked my job and I liked the company and, I liked all the people there. So I didn't want to like, quit and like lose the opportunity of working for an amazing company and doing the thing that, like it was a really good setup that I had. So I didn't want to lose that. But like COVID hit at the perfect time and they laid me off and I was like, fuck it, I'm a stripper now and like started working in the clubs. And then the clubs closed down too. And I was like, well, fuck. Like I just kind of like, didn't really have much direction from there, was kind of like scared a little bit. But then I created an OnlyFans and I made like $12 my first month, and I was like, this is bullshit. Like, whatever. So I was
Same.
like,
Like I made like I think like around 12 or like 20 or something the first month because
yeah.
I don't think either of us really like understood what we
Oh, for
were
sure not.
doing.
Yeah. I had no clue.
Because we thought it was like some kind of like paid Instagram kind of thing, and it
Yeah.
was like we didn't know the logistics of it, I guess. And then I feel like working with a manager and him kind of explaining a lot more to us definitely helped.
Yeah, for sure. And so I was like kind of making like I was making probably by the time that I met Kiana, which was in October of 2020, I probably made like a grand a month off of OnlyFans, which was like okay because I was also like I was working at a smoothie shop during COVID, and like I was just doing like a bunch of side hustles to kind of keep my revenue up. But I was making like shit money on OnlyFans. I mean, not shit. It was good money, but it was compared to what I'm making now, like it wasn't, like
Not something that you could like live off
I
of.
couldn't live off of that amount. But then I met Kiana and she introduced me to her manager. And I started working with him, and he kind of showed me a little bit more about like how OnlyFans works like as a business, not just as like a hobby. And was able to really understand more about, what OnlyFans was and how to maximize profits and how to promote yourself and all these things.
Because we also weren't promoting ourselves like right up until before I met you. Because I would say I started gaining some kind of traction right around my birthday, which was August. So before then, like I was sitting at like maybe 2,000 followers on Instagram and like just trying to promote OnlyFans. And it's like the thing is with OnlyFans, you can't just like promote yourself on Instagram if you only have like a certain amount of followers. Like I feel
Yeah.
like you need to understand
You
a
have to
lot
reach
of
a
more
larger audience. So I didn't understand that at all. So like
Yeah.
the way that I was promoting my OnlyFans like myself before I got a manager, and before I started understanding how to better promote myself is there was this app which it's now since been deleted, but it was called Periscope, which was like Twitter's live stream like service. And so I would go on Periscope, and I had a stripper pole in my apartment. So I would like go and like dance, and I'd be in like shorts and a tank top just dancing, and I would have like
Because you can't post any
yeah,
nudity on there.
yeah, you couldn't be nude. And I had like multiple accounts on Periscope get deleted just because like they viewed my content kind of like risque. And so that's how I was promoting myself. And I was able to make like a good amount of money on there. And kind of started to understand a little bit more of like what goes into self promotion and how to like, really like start to
Market
gain.
yourself because you're like a business now. Like I didn't understand that before that you have to market yourself as a business and as a company and like
Yeah.
you just need to know how to properly do
Yeah,
that.
also like understanding less that like marketing, so you in itself, you're your marketing team, you're your sales team, and you're also the product. So like understanding how that dynamic works, like it definitely took a while, but yeah. So I mean it all kind of tied into each other in itself.
Yeah.
But
I mean, we can talk about also what we post on OnlyFans because
yeah.
I feel like not a lot of people know. I mean, most people get the gist of it, but not a lot of people post like porn technically. I mean, it's technically porn.
Yeah, so there's different ways that you can structure your accounts, and I've definitely gotten to see a lot of different ways that that do OnlyFans like structure their accounts. So for me personally, and I think also somewhat for Kiana, and I've switched around. I've tried out what like works best because everybody has like a technique that works best
and a
for them.
different audience as well because
Yeah.
however you promote yourself, you're going to be capturing a different audience. Like people that follow me for Dora aren't going to, like hit you up about like doing some kind of like
Yeah,
custom
and by Dora,
video.
do you want to explain like
So I got traction because I started dressing up as Dora the Explorer. Yeah, as a cosplay. So I kind of worked it as like Dora the Hora in a sense. So we marketed off of that a lot. So that's what's gotten me most traction. But I feel like your OnlyFans is kind of like, and your market and I guess audience is kind of more of like a girl next door kind of look.
Yeah, so that's like how I try to promote myself is like I don't do cosplay. I've always wanted to get into it, but I don't feel like that's like something that I'm like super passionate about. So I don't really want to like like venture into that territory, and it's until it's something that I'm like super like,
Yeah.
passionate and dedicated to. Like I want to do it justice if I do it.
Because people can also see if you're not like 100% feeling confident
yeah.
in like
Or like if
what
you
you
just
do.
don't know, like if you're not part of the like if you're not passionate about cosplay or about the community in itself,
You can tell, like you can
oh,
see
yeah.
it through your work.
Yeah, and also like, that definitely affects like your ability to like retain subscribers every month because like every month my subscriber count varies.
Fluctuates. It either goes up or down, just depending.
Yeah, so like this month for me was really good on OnlyFans. And by really good, so right now I have like 360 subscribers. But it's probably the best month that I've had.
Which people wouldn't think is a lot because a lot of people like see OnlyFans and they think like Instagram followers, I guess.
Yeah.
But also like
it's like there's a dollar sign between or behind each subscriber. So like my
Exactly.
subscriber or my subscription price is $12.99 right now, but I net probably $10.39 from each subscription. So $10 times the 360 people that I have, that's automatically like, let's say everybody renews their subscription, that's going to be an automatic like base amount of money that I make. And then on top of that, however much money that I make through like sending out, like pay-per-views, which means I send out a message to either like some of my subscribers or all of my subscribers through our messaging service inside of OnlyFans.
So it's kind of like DMs on Instagram, but you just have to like.
And you can you send out a message, and you, in order to view the message or view the content,
you have to like
send out,
pay to unlock it, pretty much.
Yeah. It's like you have to pay a little fee, and you can set your own prices depending on the kind of content. So right now,
Bella Thorne kind of fucked that one up though.
Yeah, we'll skip over that though.
Yeah.
Don't want to get too heated. But yeah, so that's kind of how I make a lot of my money is through pay-per-view. And I would say right now my income is 50-50 split. I mean, I would say it's like mostly subscription prices and pay-per-view money that it makes up most of my income. And then on top of that, you have people who would just tip you. Like if they see a photo that they like on your main feed, or they, just want to like spoil you or whatever, they'll send you like, whatever amount of money.
So the thing is, even if somebody has like 50 subscribers, let's say, like they could still technically be making the same amount of money that you're making.
Yeah.
Is like what some people don't understand, I guess, because you can price your own subscription. Like some people have it at $0 and just price their pay-per-views like at like $50-$60 a message kind of thing, and they just bust out like 3 pay-per-view videos a day or pictures a day kind of thing.
Yeah.
So your subscription
that ties
price,
in. Yeah, so that ties into like how every girl or guy structures their OnlyFans differently. So like I've seen girls who will have a free account, and then the way that they make all of their income is just by sending out like a huge number of pay-per-views per day or per week. So that's how they make like all of their income. And then there's girls who have a really high subscription price, so they would do like $25, $40, maybe $50, depending on the kind of content they're posting on their main feed. So then they don't send out as many pay-per-views because like it's already such a high number.
Exactly, most of their income is already from that.
Yeah, and so like, on their main feed, typically if you're going to have a higher subscription price, you're going to have more explicit content just directly available. So you pay the $40 to subscribe, and then you have access to all of their explicit content. Which is one of the more successful ways to do it if you aren't going to do as many PPVs.
I just feel like people get scared of seeing that price when they're subscribing. Like my subscription price is at $3.89 right now, I believe, or $3, something along those lines. So I like that's how I kind of reel them in.
Yeah, with a low subscription price.
Exactly, and then just send out like PPVs. Like I still post like, not safe for work content on my feed. It's just not as much as I show in pay-per-view videos.
Yeah, I would say, like my main feed is like, typically it's going to be semi-nude or lewd photos. So it's going to be like me in like bra and underwear, or me like topless is pretty much like what I mean, sometimes I'll do like some where you can kind of see like, the downstairs, but you can't really see it. It's like
just kind of like a little tease.
Yeah, like a little tease. And then like, so I'll post like topless or, lewd or, semi-nude. And then send out like PPVs, which are going to be like the XXX explicit content. And that's kind of how I do it, because I feel like the reason that I do it like that specifically is because I feel more like I don't want somebody to subscribe to my profile and have access to all of my content. That to me is a little bit scary, just personally, because
they could easily just screen record all of that content, turn around and start selling it. Because the thing is with OnlyFans, you can screenshot everything. You can screen record everything. And, like, we don't get notified. Like, you know how on Snapchat, like,
You can see who's screenshotted.
exactly.
But with ours, you can't really tell whenever people are taking your content. So it's like sometimes like I'll go and like I'll Google my like username
Same.
and like see like, okay, where
Reddit pages.
Yeah, like there's specific Reddit pages that will have like a lot of my content, or like specific, like just websites that will, have all of my content. Even things that like people will go and they'll buy them and then they'll take my content and they'll sell them themselves. So to help with like doing that, it's like, okay, if they're gonna take my content and try to sell it, at least they paid me,
An extra amount,
$25 for this video, or they paid me like $50 for this video. So at least I get like a little bit of money from it, and then I can go and try to get the videos removed afterward, but at least I got some amount of money from it.
Yeah.
But
do you want to talk about how OnlyFans has changed people's perception of you in a way? Because I feel like nobody really talks about that. Like, nobody talks about not even the downside. It's just like the way that people automatically perceive a female as soon as she's on OnlyFans.
yeah, so I definitely think that people think that OnlyFans is a really easy route to make money. People think that it's like, oh, you don't really have to work that much. Like you
it's
just
not a
like,
job.
yeah, people are like, oh, just take a couple booty pics and you're making your, you're paying your rent. Like, and I think that for me, there are girls who will do that. There are girls who go into it for, the wrong reasons, and they aren't necessarily passionate about sex work or about,
Because I
that
feel
in
like that's
general.
most celebrities. Because OnlyFans, for I think until about summer of COVID, there wasn't really a lot of celebrities on OnlyFans. And then slowly celebrities started realizing that they could make a lot of extra money doing OnlyFans. But my only
Yeah.
issue with that is the fact that they never had done sex work before and they were just using it as extra cash. And for example, for you and me, that's our full-time job and that's pretty much our only source of income right now.
Well, not for me, but
you know what I mean? Like it's one of the main sources of income that we have, and like
yeah.
for them they have their YouTubes, they have their clothing lines, whatever.
Yeah, and I think that also people don't understand that like making content for OnlyFans, it's not just snapping a couple booty pics. It's like I want to figure out something that like, because with sex work, it's basically like I make my own like amateur porn, and I make my own like, content like that.
You
So
sit
it's
there and have to edit it and have to figure out, and like messaging is also a lot of the work. Like
yeah,
messaging is a good, like, I would say like 80 to 90% of like the work. Like I feel like taking the pictures is like
10% of the work.
10% of the work.
And then the rest would be like editing it and figuring out how to maximize profits off of the content that we produce.
Yeah. But messaging takes a lot because a lot of these guys, like, we're pretty much like their virtual girlfriends in a sense.
I like to say that like OnlyFans, so it's like, how some girls have like sugar daddies? I like to think that like I have a bunch of like
internet sugar daddy. Yeah.
I like to have like a bunch of like, sugar daddies that pay me less amount at a time, but together they all kind of support me as being one big sugar daddy. But it's like with that, I still am messaging them like they are, like a person of, like they're my sugar daddy. Like I'm messaging like 45 sugar daddies in one sitting. Like I'll sit there and I'll just message them back, be really raunchy, but it's like it does get kind of repetitive, and sometimes, it's like I don't see their face. Like I only see they're seeing my face, but I'm like I'm messaging somebody that I have no clue who they are, and like I don't know like what they're interested in, and so I'm trying to figure out the best way to like, excite them and make them like want to like excited about like my page and, be more interested in me. But it's all about, it really is marketing. Like people don't think it, but like I always say that some of the smartest businesswomen that I know are sex workers, because in the strip club, those girls are doing sales and marketing all in one sitting. And
because
guess
they're
what?
marketing themselves, they're selling themselves. Like that's how it is. Like we're also like selling ourselves. It's also the fact of like I get scared too because anyone can put any username on OnlyFans. So like,
You
like
never know if
exactly
it's,
like you
yeah.
were saying, like you're messaging these guys very raunchy because that's what they want, and then I turn around and like I found out one time that it was like kids that used to like my nudes got sent around in middle school. It was like a whole thing, and like
Ooh, spicy. Child
I
porn.
feel like I should have known that I was gonna do this at some point. We love child porn. Anyway.
Whoa.
I'm kidding.
Maybe not that one.
Kidding. Anyway, so I was like messaging these guys, and I obviously like had no idea who they are because they're hiding behind these like usernames. And then I was sending them like really raunchy messages back and forth, and then later I found out like they would DM me on Instagram like on their actual pages, and it was like kids that used to send around my nudes in like middle school and like bully me
Oh yeah,
for like
I'm
my
always
body.
worried that like so I'm gonna talk about whenever my parents found my OnlyFans really quick.
love it.
So I wonder if I probably still have the messages, but I'm not gonna pull them up. My stepmom, she I guess whenever I made my Twitter and I started posting, some of my more, like nude or like semi-nude or lewd
Explicit
photos.
content.
Yeah, I started posting some of those on Twitter to help promote myself. Um, and I guess that I used my number. And I don't know why she was on Twitter because I never knew that she had a Twitter before this. And I wasn't concerned about it, but I used my number. And so I guess that my account, and I was going under a different stage name because whenever I was a dancer, I used the name Lacey.
Oh yeah, you were telling me
And
about this.
yeah, so whenever I made my Twitter, I used the name Lacey. And so she saw Lacey as one of her suggested, and she went and she saw that I was posting all these, not so family friendly things. And so she saw the link in my Twitter bio that brought her to my OnlyFans. And then on my OnlyFans, I had my Amazon wish list tagged or like linked in my bio. And so her being, curious, I guess, clicked on the link and I guess she saw butt plugs and she saw like all these things that maybe your stepmom doesn't really need to necessarily see. And so she, of course, told my dad and then,
Whole thing.
became like a whole situation. And so, like, not that I think that they would ever make a fake account to subscribe to my OnlyFans because I think that they probably don't want to see what's on there. But I think it's like
still the fact of like
it's a thought.
exactly.
It's like, okay, well, what if this is like I see somebody with the same name as my dad, and I'm like, whoa, like I don't know if I feel comfy with
it's still
this.
like always a thought at the back of your head, just
Yeah.
like the way my family even found out I was stripping is one of my dad's like best friends came into the club and like saw me on stage and literally sent a picture of me to like my dad, and that's how they found out that I started doing sex work. Like now they kind of know what I do, but they just think it's more of like a social media kind of thing. Like obviously OnlyFans is social media, but they think it's more of like a less raunchy version of what I do.
Yeah. My mom and I are super open about everything that I do. Like I talk to her about everything. I talk to her about like the kinds of videos that I make and like
We love it.
she's super supportive though and like I'm able to be very open and honest because like even though she is like a very like God-fearing woman, like she is like goes to church and like very much like, no sex before marriage, like very much
Don't die.
Sorry, I got choked up a little bit.
She's getting really
Yeah,
emotional
I'm sorry, I'm
talking
just so
about it.
emotional about this. But yeah, so she follows the Bible very.
God heard you.
I know God just like struck me with lightning or something. But Jesus.
Anyway, okay, so pretty much I feel like you kind of got your point across.
Yeah, I'm good now.
We love it.
But yeah, my mom is very like supportive of it and makes it. Jesus.
Anyway, I've seen. What was that? I mean, I've seen your mom just like sit there and you kind of like show her most of your stuff, and it was like you can see a little bit of like not a hurt in her eyes, but like I feel like every
like,
parent is still gonna be hurt at the end of the day, like no matter how supportive they are.
Yeah.
With the sex work industry, like
it's like obviously she doesn't want her little girl who she like made from scratch. Like she doesn't want her to like be growing up to become
getting
a sexist.
railed.
That's not like what. Yeah.
Getting railed.
Yeah. She's like she doesn't
on camera.
Mom, if you see this,
your
but
daughter
yes.
gets railed on camera.
You didn't have to do me like that.
You roasted me in the beginning. You went in. I'm going in as much as I can now.
Yeah, but yeah, no, but she knows that I get railed on camera. Like she's fine with it.
But like you could tell, like
obviously it's not what she wants me to be doing, but she's like, I love you anyways, and I support what you do, and if this is how you're, making your money and like how you're paying your bills, then she's like, at least this is what, like at least she's providing for herself, and like I think at the end of the day, she thinks that like I am I feel like I'm a very intelligent person.
You have to be working in this industry. Like, you can't be like...
I mean, you can, but you definitely know the girls who are doing this because, like, this is, like, one of their, like,
because it's a trend. Like, they're hopping on it because it's, like, what's popular right now. And you can see the people that, like, know how to market themselves and know how to, like, properly just
Yeah.
run themselves as a now I'm gonna die. Run themselves as a company and as a business.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
you can
and
just tell
also
the
I think
difference.
going on to like the trend topic is like recently OnlyFans has become more like in like like our like generation, it's become more accepted like for girls to be doing OnlyFans, but of course there's going to be the people who don't support it or pass judgment or whatever. But I think that like it's become a lot more accepted, but with that people like a lot of girls that want to go into it. Like I had a 16-year-old girl hit up no, she's 17. I had this 17-year-old girl hit me up and be like, "Can you help me make an OnlyFans when I turn 18?" And I was like, "Girl, like I was like, this is something that like a lot of girls don't necessarily think through. They think like, "Oh, I'm going to do OnlyFans as my
because
career."
it's also a risk of, even though we do use, you know, different last names, and like we do have like a certain kind of I guess stage name that we use, just like Lana Rhodes has her stage name and everything. It's still the
Riley
fact of
Reid.
like exactly. It's still the fact of, going into
At the end of the day,
job
your
interview.
vagina will be on the internet if that's what you choose to do. So if you don't want your vagina on the internet and you don't think that that's something that you would be able to handle with if somebody sent like a picture of your pussy out, like I think that like you have to think about those things before you get into it, because it is a reality of like people have taken my nudes or taken like my content and they have
posted it everywhere.
Oh, for sure. But I'm like, at the end of the day, like it's not that it bothers me. It's just more like, damn, I'm losing money. Like, it's like, because for me, like I'm not ashamed of my body. I think that, like if
I'm not either, but it's also the fact of like at the back of my head, it's always the fact of I'm not going to be doing this forever. Like I'm not going to be like old and crinkly and like posting like old grandma pussy pics. Like
I could see it in your future.
Oh,
Honestly.
yeah?
Yeah, you could be like a cute little babushka with like
babushka just getting railed.
babushka.
What are those like Russian, like, those, what are they called?
Russian dolls.
Yes. Just do some kind of video like that.
Wait. I have a random question. It's gonna be a little bit off topic. Do you want to talk about like any of your specific like funny or strange kinks or like interests in the sexual?
I mean,
aspect?
I feel like the fact that people jack off to me dressing up as like a kid's cartoon character is a little interesting, but like all for it, Okay, so my thing is,
give me something raunchy. Like I want to know, because I don't think I actually know like a lot of your like. Do you have any like specific like weird or like strange? Like I have some that like I even told my Applebee's waiter last night about my strange one, and so I want to hear yours.
I mean, I don't really have, like, I do have like a few kind of like videos of me getting railed, but I don't really have anything that's like strange, I guess. Like I'm trying. Okay, so I really want to find somebody to dress up in like a Boots costume, and I just get like fucked by Boots really bad. Anyway,
that's a good one. No, I could do that
because I feel like people love that. Oh, actually, I am filming a video. I just remembered. Okay, so I have a Boots cardboard cutout.
Yeah.
As a joke, like a few months ago, I stuck a dildo, like one of those like suction cup dildos, onto the Boots thing, and I was like, what if I like fuck Boots like that, like not an actual person in a costume? And people like went crazy for that. So I'm gonna be filming that like pretty soon.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell the Applebee's story?
Yeah. Okay. So last night I went to Applebee's with some friends, and we were just having a silly goose time. We were fucking around with our waiter. He was just like a super chill guy, and I recently made a very graphic sex tape.
Is it the one that you showed to me?
Yeah, it's that one.
It's really hot.
It is really hot. I was really proud of myself. Anyways, so I made a really graphic sex tape, and I was showing it to all my friends at the table. Like,
because I feel like that's what you do. Like, it's not like,
because I'm not ashamed of it. I'm like, look at how hot I am. Look at how hot I am. Like, I'm like, you want to see me get railed? Look. Like,
look.
Like that's kind of how I like, feel, because I'm not ashamed of it. But anyway, so I was showing it to all my friends, and the waiter walked up while one of my friends was looking at it, and I saw him glance at the screen and see my part of my sex tape. And so then like you could see like his reaction was a little like, taken aback. And then he
like anyone would.
Yeah, he put our food down, and I was like, "Oh, I think you just saw some of my sex tape. Would you like to watch it?" And he was like, I mean, he literally like leaned up against the wall, leaned back, and was like, "I mean, I got to be honest with you, man. I just got out of prison 6 weeks ago, so yeah."
He probably hasn't seen a pussy in a really long time.
He took the phone and he was watching my sex tape, and then I told him about like some of my strange like kinks. Like me and my friends were like all of us, like we were talking about it. But yeah, and he like talked about how he hasn't had sex and like 6 years, 7 years, because he was in prison for 7 years, and he was like, you could see like his energy change whenever he realized like he was looking at a sex tape of like a girl sitting right in front of him. I feel like it like definitely did something to his brain. But yeah,
I
so
couldn't imagine that going on without sex for that long.
dude,
That's like
I can't even.
I'm
do it for,
such
like,
a
day.
hornball, like
Hornball.
horn dog.
Hornball.
Horn
I'm a hornball.
I love to get railed. Anyway, I just like I feel like I don't like fuck many people. I feel like I find like a few good partners, or like if
Yeah.
I find that one good partner that I'm like the sex is amazing, and like it's not like a serious kind of relationship thing, but like the sex is just I love. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna say something, and this is a little bit fuck. Sometimes I like to fuck people that are really bad in bed because I'm really good and it makes me feel better about myself.
I've done that before.
And also because I like to like, you know, blow people's minds. Like that's like something for me that like turns me on is like if they're like saying like this is the best sex I've ever had. I'm like,
I literally
fuck,
like
yeah, let me do it again.
It's just like a pussy boner. Like hearing that,
Yeah.
like you just get like a little pat on the back. Like especially my thing is like the time that I get like the most pat on the back is honestly when like guys like have like a higher body count, because this has happened to the both of us where guys have had a higher body count, but they're like the sex is so amazing with you because like they've slept with like a good amount of people, and then they just turn
Yeah.
around and they're like the sex is so fucking good with you.
Yeah.
It's great. It's a good pat on the back.
Yeah, exactly. Also, like, I love, like, showing people, like, new things. Because, like, I recently was being intimate with someone. And I was giving that good head, as I do.
The
And
Gluck Gluck 9000. What did I call it? Oh, I called it the Samsung Power Washer 4000. I think that should be the new name.
It's a good one. Yeah, I actually really like that.
Because you're like power washing their dick, technically.
Yeah, because that's one of my things is I really like spit. Like if I'm not giving sloppy top, like it's not top. Like there's like it has to be super like I get like string. Do you get like the super long like?
Because I like to gag like on a dick and then
yeah, exactly. Yeah, but so I was giving the Samsung Power Wash, you know, special 4,000. I'm gonna kick it up to the 5,000 because that's what I was given. And so I was given that good, and I do this thing which I'm just gonna demonstrate really quick. So I go like this, and I interlock my fingers around the penis.
How?
And grab like this, and go like that. Okay, so this.
I'm learning
That's
new shit.
that's my special, okay? And whenever I did it, like I was watching his reaction because a lot of guys apparently haven't experienced that. Like I guess that's like new to them. And I was doing that, and I swear to God, it looked like he went to a different dimension. Like his eyes were just like in the back of his head. And so like for me, I like seeing that like I'm blowing people's mind, not because it's like not necessarily like a narcissistic like oh yeah I'm so good at this, but it's more
it turns
like
you on.
Yeah, I'm like if somebody's enjoying this,
exactly, it makes me horny. Like seeing their like eyes roll back to the eyes roll to the back of their head. Like, it's a turn on.
Yeah, exactly. Also, which kind of goes back into OnlyFans is like a lot of times girls will get into OnlyFans thinking like, oh, I'm gonna post booty pics and all this, and I'm gonna make, you know, like a bag and like whatever.
That gets old after a certain point.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't understand is like in order to be in the sex work industry, you have to really enjoy sex. Like you can't just like get into it and be like, oh, I'm doing this for money, or oh, I'm doing this for the clout, or oh, I'm doing this, you know, whatever, like whatever
That's
reason.
why, exactly.
If you're not passionate about sex or sex work or, you know, like intimacy or just anything surrounding it, like you're not going to be successful. And like people will see that like, you know, because like I followed this one girl on Instagram, and she is really successful on OnlyFans. She makes a fucking bag. And she, you know, like she does really well on it, and people were asking her questions on her Instagram story, and they were like, what's your body count? And she said, she was like 3, I'm not a hoe. And so to me, in my mind, what that
Why
shows
are you
me,
slut shaming?
to me, what that shows me is I'm like, okay, clearly she's not doing OnlyFans for the right reason then. Because it's like in order for girls to be really successful on OnlyFans, like for instance, Belle Delphine, she is like the top-notch, like top-tier bitch
but
on
she
OnlyFans.
just recently started fucking her boyfriend.
No, on camera.
It's
not like they didn't have sex until now.
But
Yeah,
like on
she,
camera. I mean on camera.
Yeah. But the thing is that whenever she came out with her first sex tape, so it was really controversial. If you haven't seen it or if you haven't heard about it, definitely go, look it up and you'll be able to kind of understand what we're talking about a little bit more.
It's
but
kind of, I mean, we can give like a gist of it.
yeah, so she essentially was dressed as, maybe like I want to say like a little like
Red Riding Hood a little bit, like
like a little kind of a little bit of a younger look, but it looked
like
kind of like
sweet, innocent, like
a towny girl. Like she was like, it kind of reminded me a little bit of like
more innocent than Girl Next Door, because I feel like Girl Next Door is still like
it had
a
a very young
slutty.
look. Yeah. And so basically she was like in the forest, and her boyfriend, who was dressed up as, a kidnapper rapist, came and pinned her up against a tree
and like tied her up,
and then put her in the back of his car and
fucked in the van or something like that, right?
So it was more of like a kidnap rape fantasy, which
triggers a lot of people.
It is triggering to a lot of people, but at the same time, I do understand that, because like a lot of people do have. They're not condoning rape or sexual assault or kidnap. What they're doing is they're saying this is something like this role
it's
play.
A part of the
play.
BDSM community, and that's a huge thing. And I feel like she was also trying to like shed light on that, because no other kind of well-known OnlyFans content creator was really like doing something like that.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's a very like, I'm in the middle about it, because I feel like she definitely could have like put more of a trigger warning for the weeks coming up to it, I guess.
Yeah.
Because she didn't really put a trigger warning.
The thing is that it was her first. So I am kind of in the middle about it too. She didn't put a trigger warning, and also she didn't preface it in like saying like I don't condone sexual assault or rape or kidnap. But at the same time, the fact that that was her very first sex tape that she released really shows that like she is a horny motherfucker who is passionate about sex, and that's the reason that she's doing sex work.
Oh, 100%.
And to me, I really respect that, because it's like, okay, she could have just come out and been like fucking on her bed with her boyfriend for like 5 minutes, and like he busts a load on her face, and she makes a bag off of it.
But the thing is, like, they sold that condom for like a lot. Like, she made over, I think she said $3 million on that sex tape alone. She made, I think, like a good over 100,000 selling that condom.
Yeah, so like,
which is insane.
I don't know the specific numbers. I don't even want to try to think of that, because those numbers hurt my brain. But like the fact that that was her first sex tape makes me respect her a lot more as a sex worker, because like she could have just done some bullshit. Yeah. She could have literally just been fucking on her bed with her boyfriend like every other fucking girl does.
But I feel like she's always been like that. So my thing is like, even with her, she wouldn't really post many like pussy pics, I guess, on her main feed. Like it was more like
she didn't even post. No, she didn't even post topless.
I think she posted like topless, like I forgot the word. Like
it's like lewd.
Yeah, like
lewd or semi-nude.
Kind of, like teasing, like you could see like a little part of her nipple or something like that. Like you couldn't see like her full like tit.
Yeah, so whenever she came out with that, like everybody was like, "Damn, like this girl's fucking freaky."
And now she's like all like she posted some picture of her with like a toaster, like in a bathtub with her, like naked.
Hot. That's kind of hot. I'm not gonna lie.
So you can tell that she kind of likes pain, and I guess she's like kind of marketing off of the fact that like that is something that she likes.
But it's like at the same time, I don't even want to call it marketing, because it's like for her, like if she wanted to market to like a wider audience, like especially with her first sex tape, if she wanted to market to a wider audience,
she would have done like an amateur porn, like on the bed fucking.
Yeah, but she did something that she was passionate about. And for me, seeing a girl like do something that it's kind of controversial, it's super risque, like it's something that it's not everybody's thing, but she did it because she loves it. That's what I think is most important in the sex work community, is being passionate about what you are passionate about, and like allowing yourself to kind of just like be yourself and like explore your sexual fantasies and try out new things, and be allowed to like really like not have any like shame or any like fear or even guilt about being like, hey, I really like this, and it's super taboo. Like the whole like stepsister, stepbrother porn, or like stepdad, stepdaughter porn, like things like that. That is so taboo, and a lot of people really like get rubbed the wrong way. But at the same time, that's a real kink, and I am not one to kink shame. And it's like, if that's something that you are really like, I'm not gonna lie, I've watched like stepbro, stepsis porn. I've watched like stepdad, stepdaughter porn. It's like, maybe that's not something that I'm like super passionate about, but it's something that I can appreciate, because it's like everybody has their thing.
Hot. It's still like a hot.
It's fantasy. Hot as fuck. Anybody getting fucked on camera is hot to me.
Exactly, but I feel like also like sex in general, like especially with like, I feel like more towards guys. Like, I feel like guys are kind of scared to like talk about, like a lot more like taboo things. Like my thing is like, I'm not ashamed to say it. Like I've I've eaten a guy's ass before, but like,
hot.
yeah. But like, guys are like, because at first, like, obviously, like, I'm not just gonna like go down and fucking like eat their ass. Like, I make sure they like, hygienic and everything. But like, also, like, they are scared of it because of the fact that they think it's like, they don't think as a straight man that they can feel anything good in their like.
Yeah, they're like, don't penetrate me, don't get near my butthole. Like,
exactly. But then the second that they feel it, they're like, this is like
or
when I
it's
give a
like
blowjob,
they feel guilty about like enjoying
how
it.
good it feels. Like,
yeah, and I'm like, no, I want to hear you moan. Like, please, like let it out.
Hot, because it's like, and they get such, like, the last time that I did it, I was giving a blowjob and then I went down and I didn't like eat his. I guess I was giving him like a rim job, kind of, but like you could just tell like that was probably. He literally told me that was like the best orgasm he's like ever had because it feels like the sensations are like so much better, and I feel like also like even guys eating girls' asses, like it's not like very
I love getting
common.
my ass eaten.
I'm just it's amazing.
This,
yeah.
If someone eats my ass and I don't have to ask them to do it,
it's
I'm gonna
amazing.
marry you.
Oh,
I'm gonna like something's gonna
Putting
happen,
a ring on
and
it.
like I'm gonna give you the best fucking time of your life.
It's probably like even like during sex, like whenever like a guy like eats my ass before when he's eating me out or whatever, like my orgasm.
I'm sweating.
I'm like, fuck, like we gotta go film some OnlyFans content after this. Anyway, I just feel like it's a lot. I have like a much harder orgasm. Like if a guy eats my ass before, like like puts a thumb in my ass, like while like I'm on top.
I have to have a warning for that one, but that totally.
Oh, obviously,
I need like
my
a
whole
little
thing,
like, hey, you ready? Like, are you ready for
obviously,
it? Like,
not just like fist your whole asshole like while you're on top. Yeah, no, definitely like a warning. But you know what I mean? I feel like once you find the right partner that you're like comfortable with, that like you can experiment with, because I feel like you can't really experiment with like one night stands kind of thing. Like you need to have like a partner that you can. That's my thing with OnlyFans too, is like I give credit to the girls that can do this, but like I am not there yet where I can just go and fuck somebody that I've never met before, kind of like working, like collabing with somebody. Like with a girl, it's completely different for me at least.
Yeah.
But like me fucking a guy, like me getting railed by a guy on camera that I've never met before is like scary to me. So that's why I feel like I'm a lot more comfortable with like posting a video or like filming a video with somebody that I'm already like comfortable with in bed, and I like they know what I like and I know what they like, so it looks more like passionate.
Yeah, so on that, I mean, I'm kind of in the middle about it, because it's like I think that like for OnlyFans content, like I really like having like pre-established connection with or like not even connect. It doesn't even have to be like a like super deep, like
not
I'm
like emotional
touch your soul
connection.
with my penis. You know, it's gonna
not
be like
that just like the sex is good.
Yeah, but like I want to have like a pre-existing, you know, if I'm gonna try something new and something crazy. But I also really get off on like having like random hookups, which I don't do that often. I'm not gonna pretend like I do.
Oh,
I do it like maybe like once every couple months. I'll like just like have like a one night stand or something. But that to me, as long as like I'm filming content, as long as I'm filming content, that's what I would do it for. But I'm not just gonna like go to a bar and be like, hey babe, let's go home together. No. Like let's get freaky, you know?
Yeah. But also like a lot of guys are like scared to film too.
Yeah, I think I've recently started filming with somebody new on my OnlyFans, and it was definitely like because they haven't done this before. They don't, you know,
because
like
most guys, you know, they probably have filmed something, I guess, for themselves to like maybe masturbate to or whatever.
Yeah, or just like remember the moment.
Exactly, but nobody's ever filmed because there's a big difference between a guy filming something
and filming for business.
Exactly.
Because like at the end of the day, like whenever I film, so I recently did a collab with a girl like a couple days ago, and we very much like we're not attracted to each other. Like it's not like we're like I'm bi and I am attracted to women, but like it's not like we're like attracted to each other. I think she's straight, and like we both went into it knowing this is for OnlyFans content, and so we approach the situation differently. We're like, hey, what do you feel comfortable with? What do you not feel comfortable with?
Because that's a huge thing too. Is just talking
about it beforehand. And so I approach situations that I'm going to be doing more business, like, and I don't want to call sex business, but at the end of the day, like
it is a business
in this aspect. Yeah, if I'm collabing, if we're both going to be using the content to like profit off of,
because it's the difference is it's sex and then sex on camera. That's the difference. Sex on camera is a business, and then sex for like your own personal pleasure is different. But it's also the fact
Not
of
that
like
the sex changes, but it changes like how I approach it.
and it's also the fact of even just the smallest thing like an angle. In the sense of like, hey, should we maybe get a ring light and like put the phone up on a ring light instead of you being shaky and trying to like fucking rail me from the back and like it's not a good like
exactly.
You know what I mean? Like I just feel like you need to have those kind of conversations before you go into filming with somebody because a lot of guys don't know how it is. Because there's not a lot of I mean, it's starting to become more popular in Austin, but I feel like up until like maybe 2-3 months ago, there wasn't a lot of girls that would do OnlyFans.
I'm still having trouble finding girls in our
100%.
city. Yeah.
Well, that's why. So Ivy and I are planning to take a trip out to LA because there is
a couple creators out there that we're wanting to
collab with.
Which honestly, we didn't even touch on like how collabs like help, like how we got
100% because it's cross promotion.
Oh yeah, because so like with collabing, which whenever I first started out, like I didn't do so my first girl on girl collab was actually the one that I filmed a couple days ago.
Wow.
I haven't done very much collabs just because it's really hard to find people to collab with.
You and I did like a photo shoot together, but it wasn't like a video of anything.
Yeah, so we haven't like collabed like making like any kind of explicit content, but like we've taken photos together. But it's really
even
hard.
that cross promotion did a lot for the both of us. Like it because the thing is, especially like we were talking about earlier, like my Dora thing, nobody would find you looking at my Dora kind of thing. Just like nobody would look up you doing like the girl next door thing and find Dora. So it's like when we do these cross promotions of like two completely different people and it's like this like different aspect of each other, people like that shit.
Yeah.
Because people still hit me up. Like her and I would literally just go live together. Like, oh, we went live together one time on OnlyFans.
We did, yeah, but we didn't do anything crazy. It was just like
we just stripped. But even that, like people still like hit me up to this day being like, where's Ivy? Let's see a collab. You know what I mean? So
yeah, same here.
Like,
yeah. But like I did my first girl on girl collab recently and that was really a really good experience just because like I really liked I liked the way that it was because it was like more business. So it's like we both like came prepared. We both knew what we were gonna do. We both had an idea of the content that we wanted to film, and we were able to kind of talk about it with more like an open conversation. Like I was like, "Hey, do you have any STDs?" She was like, "No." She was like, "Do you?" And I was like, "No." And like I was like, "Do you need verification?" She was like, "Nope." I was like, "I don't need verification from you as long as like you're telling me the truth, like blah blah blah, whatever." And it like because those conversations can be really awkward with a partner that like you're not gonna be like that doesn't also do OnlyFans or isn't in the sex work industry. It can be really uncomfortable because it's like, oh, like people feel like there's like a judgment or like some kind of
they get like they right away get like defensive.
Yeah.
Like if people will like sit like the last time I had sex, I asked the guy, I was like, "Do you have anything?" And like that was probably one of the first guys that was like, "You have every right to like ask me that." And I was like, "Wow." Because most guys just get very defensive and they're like, "Why would you even ask me that? Like, why would you assume that?" Because I know that you fuck a lot of people and like I don't want chlamydia or like anything else.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so it just like changes things whenever you're like collabing with other creators instead of just like filming with somebody who is more there to just bust a nut rather than to like be like, okay, let's get this good angle, let's make this hot, like let's get you to do this, let's get me to do that, like because you're both wanting like a good product in the end, and it's like yeah, we're enjoying ourselves in the moment, but at the same time, it's like there is business behind it, and you have to think like angle, you have to think lighting, you have to think like both the comfortability of both people.
Exactly, but like I feel like it's more of the fact of people that are already on OnlyFans, like they're the content creators themselves, they know how to do this. So when you collab with another OnlyFans creator, it's a lot different than collabing with like a partner of yours that doesn't do OnlyFans.
Exactly.
Like I have collabed with one male OnlyFans creator.
With the one.
Yeah. I can't say his name on camera. But anyway.
Name drop.
Can't do that. He'd kill me. But anyway, so but he filmed this video of me and him before he even had an OnlyFans, but he was already thinking of having an OnlyFans. So in his mind, when he was filming, it was a blowjob video. So it was, first off, he took a long-ass video. It was like because normally my blowjob videos were like really short and like
Yeah.
they were like less than a minute, and I hated that.
Dude,
He got a 4-minute, 20-second video, and like he got all the right angles, but it was because of the fact that in his head he was already thinking of it as more of, I'm gonna be using this for OnlyFans as well, and I want to get the right angles instead of like I'm just trying to bust on your face.
yeah, exactly. So it definitely changes like the way you approach sex, but at the same time, it doesn't change like
It doesn't change the orgasm. It doesn't
yeah, it
change
doesn't change the
the
pleasure.
yeah.
It just changes like okay, like I'm also
How are
gonna
we gonna
be
exactly?
because it's also like I think okay for me personally, which not everyone feels this way, but I personally think that adding a camera to
Oh,
the
I get
bedroom
hornier.
makes me so
Oh, I
turned
get
on.
so much hornier.
Yeah, I get so like I'm like okay, I want to watch this after like I watch my sex tapes whenever I like need a little bit of a confidence boost. Like I'm like
yeah.
like I just showed her my sex tape like before
Oh,
we
it was
started
really hot.
recording, and I was like look at this, like look at how fat my ass looks, like look at that, like you
Because
know
it's just the fact of also like, I don't know. I get so much wetter when I'm like filming.
wetter. Why does that sound like
Wetter,
it sounds like-
moist.
I get damp down
I
there.
get moist.
I get damp. People are like, and we're done. Let's close out.
I think we're good, right? I mean, do you have anything else that you kind of want to add? Because I don't want to like get everything out on our first episode.
Yeah.
I kind of want to give them a little taste,
Yeah.
a little suck on the tip, and then just like
A little.
exactly,
Yeah, just stick your tongue out and let me taste it.
exactly, and then
Yeah.
just deep throat next episode.
Yeah, next episode we'll be going for the balls. It'll be a ball focused
With ice.
episode. Yeah. Ooh. Putting an ice cube up the bum hole maybe for the third episode.
Butt plug the 4th episode.
Yeah. Ooh, you could even put your butt plug in the freezer for an extra little temperature change.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've never thought of that. I might do that.
I know. Yeah. That actually sounds really fun.
Should we go do that after this?
Yeah, I think that would yeah, let's do
Anyway, I feel like this is a good ending.
that. Yeah, I feel like this is a great place to end. But yeah, thanks.
We will see you next episode.
Yeah, thanks so much for listening to us ramble. You know, we're really excited for this. So
Yeah. We'll
Yeah.
see you soon.
tune in again.